So just a quick word on what we're doing. These are our national working groups. We've got 6 of them. There is one more that's semi-inactive, the Outreach and Communications Group. Drew and I are vice chairs, so we can blame us. But that group is to a point where we've got to have some further discussions on some things we need to do internally. But these national working groups are doing some pretty amazing things, and we wanted to give them some time slot. I think you're going to have between 5 and 10 minutes, closer to 10, I think, since yeah, and we'll leave time for questions. It may be best to do questions after each presentation. So we're going to start off with the deck preservation group and Pat Martens, and we'll go from there. You've got 2 slides.
So we won't start with Pat.
We're going to improvise here. All right. Dave Juntunen with the Bridge Preservation BMS. This group's been active for a while and done some pretty cool things. So you got it. I think the clicker works.
All right, well, let's see what's on these slides. But the group's been around a while, and it took a hiatus for about 1.5 years. We kind of lost some of our leadership on it. But over the last year, we've been pretty active. Kent Miller has done a great job, and he's kind of taken up a really nice leadership role as being like the state co-chair. I've been involved in it a long time, so they keep letting me hang on here. So I'm helping as co-chair with Kent on it. Our vice chair is vacant, so if you like BMS, come join our group. It's not much work, really. And Bert Hartman from Oregon is our secretary.
Note the time when you meet, too.
When we meet?
Yeah, it was on the first slide.
Oh, yeah. We meet on the 3rd Tuesday at 10 a.m. And you know it's a virtual meeting, and so just contact anybody, Nancy or me or Kent. We'll get you on the list. You know, this group, if you were to just describe it, we're a support group for those people that are doing bridge management systems. You know, and we're non-software specific. You know, it's not just BRM. It could be Agile Assets. It could be Dayton DTIMS. There's other really cool BMS softwares coming available. So join our group. We like to talk about a lot of different topics. Thanks. So we've been meeting monthly. You know, lately we've been, if we don't have a topic, we cancel the meeting. And we have canceled a lot due to a lot of conferences and stuff. But our recent topics have included, you know, I presented on challenges and successes I've had. I'm in the BMS implementation business, so I shared some things I've learned along the way, and I learn something every day. We had a presentation on the Midwest Pool Fund element deterioration modeling research that Philip has talked about over various conferences. We talked about in Pennsylvania, they have their own open source BMS. So that was presented. And we presented on the BMS National Scan. And right now we're actively looking for topics. So if you have an idea or if you have a success story, you know, come to our group and share it with us. We'd really like to hear it.
We can take questions.
Any questions on the BMS National Working Group? Okay.
I think we'll switch back to Pat. So a lot of these working groups, or all of them, pretty much started out as a working group in a particular region, and then became important enough to grow into become a national working group. So you have the deck preservation. Oh, thanks. We had a miscommunication.
All right, thanks. Appreciate that. So my name is Pat Martens. I'm with Bridge Preservation and Inspection Services, and I'm serving as co-chair with Sarah Sondag on the National Bridge Deck Preservation Working Group, and Sarah's with Minnesota DOT. Really, Sarah's kind of the driver of the group. I just tag along and give her some assistance and support, so she does a good job leading the charge for us, really. We also have Andy Nanaman, Vice Chair from Arkansas DOT, and Stephen Austin. He was a longtime chair of the group, and he's now serving in the capacity as the secretary for us. So we meet on the third Thursday of each month, and we meet at 12 Central Time or 11 Mountain Time if you're in the Mountain Time zone. And we'd love to have you join us on that group. So if you're not already involved with that and you'd like to get involved with deck preservation, just get a hold of Darlene basically and let her know. She can send you out an email invite and get you on the go-to meeting list there. So as far as topics, what we do each month is we try to have a technical topic. We don't always have one each month, but we do have oh, got another slide. Okay. Oh, okay. I was going for the Dick Dunne one slide presentation, but I had to do it into two, I guess. Two-side presentations. So anyway, some of our topics, we've had a presentation on a study of low temperature curing for latex modified concrete. We've had ASHTO, Guide to Preservation of Highway Bridge Deck presentation. We've had committee updates from the Standing Committee on Bridge Preservation and also from the Standing Committee on Structures Maintenance. We also had an overview of NCHRP scan for recent leading innovations in the design, construction, and materials used for concrete bridge decks. And then we've also had a presentation on duplex bridge protection systems. And whenever we haven't had technical presentation topics, usually we'll have like a roundtable discussion. So if there's a timely topic out there, we'll throw something out there for the group to kind of discuss in a roundtable fashion. So in the future, we're looking at Nebraska has a new 10-day wet cure that we're looking at a presentation there. And then Minnesota also has a few research projects that they've recently done regarding the benefits of bridge maintenance, and then one also for a low slump concrete mix design, I believe. So those are some upcoming topics. And again, we would more than welcome other topics out there. If there's those of you that would like to join the group, or if you have topics to present that you think would be good for the group to hear, good best practices, things like that, we definitely would welcome those, and you can get with us to get on the agenda for that. Some of the other business items we've got, we've been working for quite a while with the deck and crack sealer synthesis, so we've got that final report now kind of wrapping up. That was an MSU project. And from there, we developed a problem statement for further research. That was part of the study, was to provide ideas for future research, so that's something that we're working with there. Also, lately we've been working with this complementary deck protection systems and the possibility of a NCHRP project there, so we're kind of working with that one right now. And then we're also looking at the bridge product database, trying to get that updated. So that's some of the main things we've been doing this year. And I think that's it. Anything?
All right, so next on deck, no pun intended there, bridge preservation coatings, and Derrick's going to do that one. Thank you.
Good morning. So, Derrick Castle, Sherwin-Williams, and current chair of the National Working Group for Coatings. This group was originally chaired by Jeff Pouliot from Florida DOT prior to his retirement, and was quite active for a while. After his retirement, we, like BMS, we took a little hiatus for a little bit and trying to rebuild the program now. So Vice Chair Aaron Dacey from North Carolina secretary's vacant. We've got a couple guys that have volunteered to take minutes and record what we think we said, so we can figure it out later. So biggest portion of our codings group right now is we're looking to grow membership. We are highly interested in recruiting, asking, begging, pleading, whatever it takes to get owner representatives, decision makers in codings. So state DOTs, regardless of what division, whether you're materials, construction, bridge maintenance, bridge design, if you are or you know the decision maker for codings in your state or your local agency, we would love to have you join us. So we try to be cognizant of everybody's time and try not to have meetings for the sake of having meetings. So we are on a bi-monthly schedule currently. We meet the second Thursday at 10 a.m. Central, and our next meeting is currently scheduled for December the 4th. So we're trying to wedge a meeting in between the holidays, and we're also looking to. We've seen the trend in other working groups that has been very popular of presentations. So we are starting to look for wins, losses, presentations, best practices, something that we can drive some interest and grow this group quickly. So I think I just had the one slide. Did you make two? Because I only sent you one. I was trying to be in, out, done.
Well, that was pretty short.
Yeah, I think I've covered most of this. So yeah. So yeah. So questions, comments. Anybody still awake? All right, we'll take the laughter.
Dick, I think, has, and I want to make a quick comment before you do that. This group really has got great industry representation and needs some, he said it, but it needs some, we need some more owners and DOTs involved in this to get, because they're looking for a lot of input from that part of the equation, and we're not, we got a little bit, but not enough.
Yeah, we have a few owners represented, and they're great. They're very highly engaged and very active, but they represent a very small subset of the country. So we're looking for a broader representation. Coatings, it's often said you can't have painting without pain. So we're trying to figure out how to get around that how to relieve some of that issue, and we need the input. We need to know where you're struggling, what you like, what you don't like about coatings, concrete and steel. This is not solely just steel coating, structural steel. This is concrete as well as steel. So.
Yeah, and I was just going to add that, Derrick said it well, that a lot of people in this room may not be the paint experts for the DOTs. So what they're looking to do is, bring back to your folks when you go back home to your state, say, hey, there's this group. You would be great on it. It's a bi-monthly call. It's not a big commitment of your time. So really consider that when you go back to your states.
We certainly appreciate it. Thanks, Dick.
Yep.
Yeah.
Dick, I think you're up. I think you're next. Yeah. So this is construction quality of bridge preservation, and Dick's going to give us a quick update on that.
Haven't really thought about what my walk-up song would be, but Derrick's walk-up song would be Neil Young's "Rust Never Sleeps." That's what his would be. So, construction quality is a group. We're really talking about when we all build and take preservation actions, we want to make sure that we get that service life extension or whatever it is that we're looking for, and we notice that maybe we're not getting that. So what this group is formed around was to basically understand and come up with best practices in the construction part of what we do. And it's chaired by Fawad Jabbar from Nebraska. I'm the vice chair, and David Dobson from Oregon DOT is the vice chair. So what we decided to do when we got formed, we thought, that bridge deck preservation had developed this great guide, a resource guide. It's basically, 7 or 8 pages, and it's really interesting. It's like a one-page thing on what you want to do when you preserve your decks. deck washing, thin polymer overlays, rigid concrete overlays, like those types of things. And what we thought was the way that we could interact best would be to add a construction quality piece to that guide. So that's essentially where we are working on. So we've done a white paper on PPC overlays. We're just about finalizing that one. We've started a draft on a white paper on LMC. And again, the focus is not going to be on just how great this product is. It's going to be, what do you have to do to make sure you get a high quality construction job when you do these things. And we've just had a presentation by the folks from Hydro Demo from this group. They came and gave us a presentation, which was terrific because a lot of times that's how you are preparing your deck to receive an overlay, and we want to make sure that that gets done correctly. So that's kind of where we are, and we are always looking for more members, but so that's kind of what we're tackling right now. We're doing this stuff on bridge decks, and then we're going to move on to some of the other things that might be out there. So that's all I had.
Questions? Yeah,
Thank you.
they meet on the fourth Thursday of the month. No, that's okay, at 10 a.m. We're going to get these meeting times posted with those National Working Group part of our website. Let's see. There we go. And Mario, so the last two groups don't have 2 slides. They have more. So we'll turn it over to Mario to talk about the ITD group, which has been really pretty amazing group to watch as well. Thank you.
Right. So I do have a little bit more than 2 slides. And every time that we talk about innovation, it's kind of challenging. So when Nance told me that I would have to present about innovation and all of that, I did exactly what you are expect to do when you have to do a presentation. So I asked ChatGPT, what should I do? So I was very clear. I tried to give the right prompt, the right instructions to the chat, and I would like to see what would be the recommendation. All right, so apparently ChatGPT was not helping me very well. So I decided to change my questions. And then I asked, a better way to structure this presentation. So this is exactly what I was expecting from ChatGPT. So a lot of stuff with a lot of different sections, conclusion, next steps, question and answer, and general tips. So that's outstanding. That was exactly what I was looking for. But Nancy told me something else. Nancy told me that I actually would not be able to do that presentation. All right, very good. So I'm going to follow that, and of course, this is a joke, but the main idea today is I'm going to talk a little bit about the infrastructure bill, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the ITD. I know that we had the opportunity to discuss the ITD in different situations today, in the last 3 days. So when we go back to the infrastructure bill, so this is a $1.2 trillion package, and a very interesting thing is that they specifically address innovation. So there's a $1.2 trillion package, and they're talking about innovation. And these are some of the words that are present there. And on top, we have the future-proofing concept. And I know that future-proofing is not something that we hear all the time. So here we have the definition of what future-proof is. In the end of the day, future-proof is the ability of something to continue to be of value in the distant future. In summary is that you're using some type of technology that's not going to become obsolete. And often when we're talking about preservation, we need to use technologies that they're going to last longer than whatever we are currently doing. One of the main reasons why we have to innovate is that when we look at this chart, we see that in 2050, so a few years from now, we're going to have over 500,000 bridges that they're going to be 50 years or older. So we do have an aging infrastructure, and on top of that, the condition of this infrastructure is not getting better. For some reason, we keep using the same tools, the same resources, the same technologies, the same products as we were using 5, 10, 20, 30 years ago. So we have a new scenario where we have a very challenging infrastructure, but for some reason, we keep using the same resources. What's very interesting, and I was trying to understand why this happens with construction. So I'm sure this chart is not a surprise for anyone. So here we are comparing productivity between different industries. And in the last 30 years, so from the 90s until now, construction had a 15% increase. Some of the other industries like manufacturing, agriculture, we had a 200% increase. So any suggestions why you think that construction, so the industry that we are part of, why it's only 15% on productivity increase in the last 30 years? Any suggestions? Well, the answer makes a lot of sense. So this article was trying to understand why this was happening, and it's not going to be a surprise when, in order to innovate, you need money. And the construction industry has always been working with lower margins. So the construction industry plays a game that's the lowest bidder. So if you are, in order to be the lowest bidder, there's not a lot of margin to invest in innovation. So we keep doing everything the same because there's no margin, there's no money to invest in innovation. So if we don't have money to invest in innovation, we're going to keep doing exactly what we're doing. So when we see all of that, so we are, what we discussed until now is the infrastructure bill is a over $1 trillion package. They mention specifically about innovation. So they talk about how it's important to use future-proof materials, technology that they're not going to be obsolete. We understand that the construction industry is not known by investing in technology. They usually are way behind, just like we saw here. And when we talk about innovation, usually we have two types of different innovation. One of them is just the incremental innovation. Incremental innovation is the manufacturer is getting their product a little bit better every year. So when you compare iPhone 14 with iPhone 13, it's an incremental innovation. When you compare nothing with the first iPhone, that's a disruptive technology. So we're going to talk about both of them during my last probably 35 to 40 slides. Just kidding. And now we're going to try to understand why disruptive technology is important. A lot of the manufacturers, a lot of the products around, they just try to improve a little bit. So if it's a coating that has a little bit better elongation or elasticity or higher solid contents. So depending on the product, there's it's slightly better than it was before. But when we see the industry, when we are talking about disruptive innovation, disruptive technology, we are talking about things that really change the industry. So I'm going to show some examples that I'm pretty sure we are all very familiar with. And for some reason, we get very used to that very quickly. So when I was flying to Rapid City, at some point I had no internet. And I thought, I can't believe I had no internet. But 2 years ago, I was not thinking about flying with internet. So now if you're flying and you don't have internet, it's kind of a nightmare. So when we talk about the room-sized computer to you being able to be seated 30,000 feet, working on the internet, it's kind of amazing. Same thing with phones. So before we have the switchboard operator, now we have a 5G cell phone. Research, and it's interesting because when you think about research that you would go to a library, and my example here is that now you're going to Google. I even think that Google is no longer the go-to place. You probably would use an AI technology, probably a ChatGPT, just like I mentioned earlier. And so even though Google is the go-to search engine, you would probably use something else. So same thing with maps and all of that. So my point here is that every time that we're talking about disruptive technology, disruptive innovation, it's something that's changing the industry. In the beginning, it's very challenging because we're all very used to whatever we have been doing for years. But in a very short period of time, the industry understands the value of that specific technology, and there is exactly when we see a big change on what's currently being done. So are we able to see? Yeah, so here are just some other examples. So the plastic was a disruptive innovation compared to metal, glass, metal, wood, or glass. Digital photography comparing with Kodak. So Kodak was the leader for ages, and then suddenly they lost the time. They lost they no longer, they were no longer the innovation. And of course, streaming, when you compare with, CDs or DVDs, is kind of, funny that now you buy a car or a computer, and those no longer, you don't have the slot for a CD or a DVD. All right, so this was about my introduction, my probably long introduction about innovation. One of the challenges that we see is that we all spend 2 or 3 days coming to these events with one goal. Our goal is to learn about what's new, and we're going to go back. And the challenge is that when we go back to our offices, the tendency is to keep doing exactly what we were doing before. So we hear great stuff, but the challenge is how we move forward from the great ideas that we had to actually doing something about that. So the ITD might be a solution for that. So now we can clap our hands. No, just kidding. So the ITD, our meeting is on the second Friday of the month, 11 a.m. Central, noon Eastern Time. And the ITD is the Innovative Technology Demonstration Work Group. And what's very interesting is that the goal of the ITD is to help DOTs with solutions that are going to be more durable, last longer, and they're going to help you somehow to make your structure last longer. And when we understand what the ITD is about, and we compare with the first slides, when we see that we have an aging infrastructure that, in 2050, 500,000 bridges, they're going to be 50 years or older, and our structures are not getting in better shape. So we know that we need better tools to fight that. The ITD might be a solution for that. So the ITD, we have 5 partners. One is the manufacturer. The manufacturer is the one responsible for the innovative technology, product or service or whatever it is. The consultant is a third-party consultant, and this is very important because this is going to give credibility to the report. So this consultant is not an employee from the manufacturer, and he's going to, the consultant is going to write exactly what's going on, so the good and the bad. The owner on the duty, the owner is responsible for traffic control, purchasing the new technology that's going to be done, and 3 things: purchase it, the material, traffic control, and and something else. I forgot about. Do you know, David, the third thing? Okay, so maybe it's not that important. The TSP2, that actually is the AASHTO preservation management, right? So oversees the project. In academia, just like the consultant, the goal is to help giving reports and more information about that technology. So here are a few of the members that are, not a few, all the industry members. Unfortunately, this presentation is on the last day, so you no longer have the ability to go back and talk with some of these technologies. But what's very interesting is that all of these manufacturers, they're going to have some type of technology that they might be able to help you with your current challenges. We know how important it is to the goal is really to add a tool to your toolbox. So a lot of this technology is not a one-stop shop where now I'm going to change whatever I'm doing to this, and this is the best solution ever. The goal is to educate the market that there are better technologies. And one of the main challenges for all the industry members is that often these technologies, they do not fit any of the approved product list, because it's something that it's not this, not that, it's something in the middle. Then when you try to understand the technology, you realize, well, that's outstanding, but I don't know how I would approve you because your product may not, may not qualify for this or that specific area. So what we really encourage you guys is our meeting is on the second Friday of the month. We are looking to have more industry and industry members. So if you have a new technology that you really think is innovative, and again, I'm going to go back to my point earlier, I'm not talking about incremental innovation. I'm not talking about if your product is a little bit better than the other one. That's not the goal of the ITD. And if you are an agency, so if you have structures and you keep using the same solution as you have been using for 5, 10, 20 years or 30, 50 years, maybe there are some newer solutions that can help you to be ready for your infrastructure. All right, any questions?
Make one quick comment, Mario. You have Dick to thank for us not restricting your time.
Yeah, thank you.
So we're glad that you could have a little more time. Are there any other questions for Mario? Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, that's been an interesting group to watch because there's a lot of products out there that are new and good, and there's no way to fit them into an AML or something. And this provides a really great forum. There's a process that they go through that's got an independent review. It's a really cool group to watch. So Jason, your name's not on here. I apologize for that. But I don't think you are a secretary. You're just a member of this, right? Okay. So Jason's going to give the update on the local agency outreach. Again, this is a little bit longer slides than the previous, but these guys have really been doing a lot of pretty fantastic stuff, kind of a national version of LTAP, so to speak, but related to bridge preservation. So Jason's going to give that.
Like David said, the local agency outreach working group is actually very large and very active, so there was quite a number of things that they wanted me to go over. Travis Kinney and Greg Freeman are the co-chairs of the group. And like the slide says, we meet on the third Wednesday of the month at noon Eastern, which was yesterday. So the local agency outreach working group wants to increase preservation of local infrastructure assets, and we're really trying to get out there and get in front of local agencies and give them the education and support and knowledge that they need to make those bridge preservation decisions. We're also going around the country seeking best practices from a local agency, what's been successful for them, what agencies are hitting it out of the park, and we'll invite them to the meeting to present on that and share how they're doing that. Like's been said earlier in the presentations throughout the conference, local agencies maintain half of all bridges in the United States. And we have an intro to bridge preservation training that we can give to any local agency in the country. So far, they've given 20 trainings throughout the country. They give them 1.5 CEUs, and they provide 100% virtual training that they can give. The training includes like asset management, how to identify and scope preservation candidates, developing, funding. Right now, we're actually working on a case study, best practices throughout the country of local agencies that have had tremendous success in raising funds through raising public awareness of why they need more funds to pay for this infrastructure. So a lot of the models that they use, they look at Michigan, Indiana, and California. There's a lot of success in bridge preservation. I'm from Michigan, so I'm going to talk mostly about Michigan local agency and how they were able to, some of the best practices they did. We had a person from our Michigan DOT come in and talk about how they've really streamlined at the Michigan DOT all of the NEPA processes and environmental processes for a local agency to go through to get their project through. Michigan has regional local agency boards that actually select the projects. MDOT does not select the local agency projects that are submitted to MDOT for federal funding. These regional councils do, and the regional councils are all made of local agencies. So they get together and they duke it out, and MDOT's like, yep, do what you guys want to do. Like I said, they rate and select the project applications. They determine how the funding is going to go, and the regional bridge counselors actually manage that 3-year bridge plan. Another case study we looked at, local agency funding success stories. This is a Michigan example. It's specific to the way Michigan law works. The Dickinson County Road Commission. So what we can do in Michigan is our county commissioners can put on the ballot to the voters what's called a millage, and it's a type of property tax. So like if the example is, I don't know how other states work, 1 mil of tax is a property tax of $1 per $1,000 of your property tax value. So if you have a $100,000 house, 1 mil tax would be $100 a year. So the County Board of Commissioners in Dickinson County put on the ballot for their electors to approve an increase in funding for them. So it says something like, shall the voters of Dickinson County assess 0.5 mil on themselves, you know, and then they say it's going to be for a set period of, this was 2012 to 2016. It tells them exactly how much money is going to be raised, they expect to be raised by that tax, and where it's going to be used. So in that very first one got approved by a narrow margin, 53%. And as you see, each time they go to renew that millage, as the public is seeing those extra dollars get used on their streets, you know, they get more encouraged, and then that percentage keeps going up. You can see 2016 renewal was up to 57, 2020 renewal is almost at 66% yes. And really, that's it.
That regional group, were those created legislatively or just organically? The ones that look at the projects?
I'm sure it was created legislatively, because I don't think we do anything without our legislature commanding it. So.
I do have one quick comment, and the meeting typically would have been yesterday, but because of this conference, they rescheduled, and so the meeting for October is actually been rescheduled to October 25th, so next Wednesday at 11 o'clock. So if there are any of you that are interested in joining in that local agency working group meeting, that will be next week. So just let us know if you are. We'll get
Has
you
that
the invite.
updated invitation gone out?
I think so. Maybe to your old email?
Probably.
Are there any other questions? I know we have a lot of local agency people that are here. I'm not sure how many are still here, but we do have a.
This working group has, I think I took the slide out because they gave me like 30 slides and I had to weed out a lot.
Because we told him he only had 5 minutes.
Yes. And I was pushing it with the 15 slides I gave David. So it has 47 local agencies participating in the
Right.
call. We're talking cities, counties. So
And we have the LTAP, Pat Connor.
Yep.
Pat Connor from Purdue. Brian's probably going to join into the meetings at least part of the time whenever able. And so there's a lot of local agencies that share information. There's usually a presentation like he's talked about. So I would highly encourage you to at least, get on the list. You'll get the agendas, you'll get information, a lot of the resources that the local agencies, their trainings, papers, different things are on the website under the local agency working groups. So there's a lot of resources that are there. Anything else? Any questions? I mean, happy to. Okay, Smith.
Do you have one at the national level or at the state level?
this is a national working group. Greg Freeman's in like Colorado and Travis Kinney's in the
Vendors
state of
could,
Washington,
attend to?
Oregon. Yeah, Travis Kinney used to be Western Bridge Preservation Partnership Chair and Oregon DOT.
Right, right. And yeah, all of our working groups, except for the inspection program managers, they've tried very intentionally to keep that small and because of their goals for those groups. But other than that, these groups are open to anybody. You don't have to be a local agency. I'd love to have
Yeah.
state agencies involved also to assist local I mean, they're open to industry, academia. I mean, that's the goal of our partnerships, is to bring those groups together to help solve problems, help push research, share ideas. So that's really, and honestly, right now, if you've thought of any questions for any of the other panel members about any of the other working groups, happy to. I mean, that was the idea for this, was to be able to open up the conversation a little bit, share ideas, and also, do you have another idea for a working group that we don't currently have?
Yep, most of them are born out of a region and they start small and then they realize, okay, well, this is something that everybody else needs to be looking at and then it grows. But yeah, all these are national groups. Anybody who's attending this conference can be part of any one of these groups. And it's easy to just get on the call and listen and hear what's going on and see if that's something that interests you. And we will be at National next year in Salt Lake. We will be having complete sessions for each one of these. They'll have their own individual hour or 50 minutes or whatever it is. So there'll be a lot more time to get into, and of course that'll be a year from now, so there'll be more things that they've accomplished. But we're carving out a lot more time for you guys in Salt Lake next year. So they're doing some pretty amazing things.
Currently, the only regional working groups are the Bridge Inspection Program Manager working groups, and they have intentionally stayed regional because they wanted to stay small enough that they could have conversations amongst the program managers. So, 14 people is much more conducive to conversations than 50 people. So they have intentionally, but we just had yesterday the first Northeast inspection program manager. So now all of the regional partnerships have those working groups that are meeting regularly.
Yeah, there's no other regional stuff going on, but if you have some ideas of something that you think would be worth looking into to create a working group, a group that might come together and collaborate and try and solve some problem or attack some issue, you can let us know or let your leadership within this organization know. And it's not hard to put one together. We have kind of a template for what you would be trying to accomplish and deliverables and things like that. So if you go look at our website under the national working groups, you'll see that template filled out for each one of these that you heard from today.
And I know Sarah and I just had a little bit of a conversation this morning about some more things that she would like to see accomplished, and others, and the discussion of a potentially new working group. But there may be more discussion about that in the business meeting or at some point further. So everybody, before we take the break, everybody, is there any other questions for any of the panel members?
I will say this, the kudos to this group, because a lot of the working groups started out of the Midwest.
Yeah.
Not all of them,
True.
but
Yeah.
probably the majority of them.
Oh, okay. All right. Any other? The business meeting will be right. We'll take a break, and then we'll have the business meeting right away. You want to just do it at 11:15, like it's scheduled, to get a little bit more of a break? Apparently, the other room has been reset, and so we will have refreshments, but you can come back in here if you want. And I would strongly encourage you to all stay for the business meeting. It's this is an opportunity to sit in on it and have some conversation, so.
And again.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, everybody.
Thank you to all of the panel members and to